The world know that the city is mine. What?
Hey guys, how you doing? This is Sean Woods of your City of Coaches podcast. Got a special episode today. I'm over here at Sabino, which is in what's it, East Side? East
I
Side,
don't know the
Tucson?
difference. I'm from Chicago. Everything
We'll
is
get
the
right
same.
into yeah, well, we get into that. But no, bless it. We're over here in the Tucson area, Sabino, Prestige School in Sports. I mean, you name it, but we're going to talk about basketball today. And we're going to talk about the newly appointed head coach, Obie Tann. Welcome to the show, man.
Appreciate it, man.
What's
Appreciate
up,
you
man?
for having me, brother.
No doubt. And you know what? You know, with you, we coached together. When I came, everyone knows I was down here for 1 year, and I coached at a school locally. And coach, I was like, he remind me of myself, but he just a little bit more calmer. But I know because he hadn't been here for a little bit, so he already knew what he knew to do. So I'm getting right to that. So you're from the Chi, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Man, tell us a little bit about you coming up in Chicago.
I'm from the side. Don't nobody hardly talk about the North Side.
I ain't never heard that.
That's the point. The funny thing is, the majority of the talent comes from North, and they move South or West wherever their family goes. But like there's a kid that plays on the Lakers now, the youngest kid to ever win an NBA championship. Taylor Horton Tucker. He's from the same neighborhood as me.
Okay.
Played in the same park district I played in as a kid. But no one talks about. They just talk about he went to Simeon, which is on the South Side.
Right.
So they
So
equate
he
him
busted
with
drove. Yeah.
They try to make it seem like he's from the South Side, but he's really a North Sider. Same thing with Sharon Collins, who's the winners player in University of Kansas history. He's from the North Side, but because he played at Crane, they try to make him a West Sider. It just happens that way. So I'm always represent the North Side because that's where I'm from, and I hope I represent them well every time I step on the court as a player, coach, advocate of basketball. So.
Well, you sure do, Coach, without question, man. Like, I will tell you that, like, your name ring bells. Definitely. I mean, look what the mark you did. How long before, I know you left Tucson, but how long were you in Tucson prior before you came back?
I was here 3.5 years, 3 years. So I coached at Catalina Magnet for 3 years. Had a good run there, kind of turned the program around, recoached some things, took them to the state playoffs for the first time in, I think, like 15 years.
Look at you.
Raised like $25,000 to take my whole team to Chicago for a Christmas tournament. So it was a good experience.
I asked you about that because that was the year I was coaching. I was like, hey, what's Chicago? Where the
Yeah,
money
I had to
come
take
from?
on. When you brag about where you're from so much, your players want to test you. So the good thing about that was I had 11 players that never been on a plane before.
Man, you blessed me.
And so I didn't. Tucson blessed us. I can't take credit. It was my idea, my brainchild, but the community, which is one of the reasons I'm back here, really looked out for me and my team and made it happen for us.
So we gotta hit you. Obviously, it's a coaching, show, but you got a long history in basketball. So give us a little bit of history of your coaching.
Coaching. I started off coaching. So one of my former teammates, high school teammates, took over our high school program, and at the time I was a club promoter in Chicago, trying to figure out what I want to do next in my life. That chapter was getting a little old for me. And he was like, well, come help me out. It took one practice and one game, and it was like, this is where I'm supposed to be my whole life.
Right.
I always tell people there's people that were born to coach, and there's people that just like coaching because they like helping kids.
Right.
I truly believe I was born to coach. So my first coaching job was assistant coach at my alma mater, my high school, Lane Tech High School in Chicago. And then I took over a program, the first varsity coach in our history, Disney 2 Magnet School in Chicago. And then I ended up coming here to Arizona and falling into the Catalina job. I actually was taking a Rincon girls job, and the principal of Catalina and Interscholastics office are in the same campus. And I was walking into the campus to talk to the director, and that principal was walking out after. And check this out: they fired their coach 10 minutes before I walked up. He was walking out, and I was walking in. I talked to the principal for about 10 minutes, and it was a blessing. We both kind of agreed to be a good fit for both of us, and God put me in the right place at the right time, and it happened.
Bless it. Look what they go say. Sometimes you put yourself in the right position, but even with that, like, you got training experience. I know you worked out with some pros. You train, college athletes, just like that. So you're able to combine training and also coaching, and you're pretty decent at it, I must say.
Appreciate that.
The biggest thing, but you did leave recently.
Yes, sir.
Where'd you go again?
I went to Jonesboro, Arkansas.
Okay.
My original plan was to go to Jonesboro and start a prep school, and we talked about that actually on my way out. I think you called me the day I was moving. I was going to be your first interview here, and I was like, "Man, Coach, I'm on my way to Jonesboro now."
What you mean? What is that? Like, what are you talking about? I was really confused.
So I went down there. My plan was to start a prep school. I had a church that had classrooms and funding, allegedly, and some other stuff. It didn't turn out the way I thought it would go. The people didn't, they wasn't ready for that type of change in a small Arkansas town. So I ended up joining forces with a guy named Jay Harris, who ran a training facility called Elite Arkansas Training. And we ended up partnering up and me becoming a part of what he had going on. And we turned it into something great for the last year and a half. And, it was one of those things where I'm not a trainer, I'm a coach, but I've been blessed with the ability to teach the game and train it. And I've also been blessed, like you said, to train pros and some Division I college players.
Yeah, for sure.
So it translated into what he was doing. And I'll tell you, he's one of the best trainers I've ever been around. He's a guy that studies the game, he studies his craft, everything. So I learned a lot from him while teaching him a lot about the game. He taught me a lot about it. And our friendship and partnership is something that we'll have for life. Our plan is actually to start an elite Arizona training here in Tucson, or somewhere between Tucson and Phoenix in the next couple of years.
That's a good job. That's a good look.
Yeah, I don't want to train. I want to train trainers and teach them.
No, I get it. You want to create your own. Create your own network.
But I just want to teach the game the right way.
Right.
The biggest part of Tucson is, the kids here don't learn fundamentals. You have kids that are super talented, and their talent takes them wherever they go. And then you have those in-between guys that get forgot about because they don't learn simple things like jab steps, triple threats. You watched my practice a few minutes ago, understanding the difference between a system and being a hooper, having an open floor and being taught to be a robot.
Right.
And so for us, it's teaching the game without thinking, but trusting your instincts and learning everywhere you're supposed to be, not just the position that you're playing.
The biggest thing with me and like with this, it's just so crazy, like how you got this position over here. Like, you were in Arkansas, and you just like wake up and say, "I'm about to apply back home." Like how does that go? Like, seriously, because you were gone.
So the Arkansas thing was something that was always temporary for me.
Okay.
The hardest part was leaving the gym. My gym, my baby, and my clients, because I love them. But the good thing was, and me and Jay always talk about this, was I want to coach. And the sad thing is, Northeast Arkansas has never had an African-American coach in their school systems. You had to go to one of those small towns like Osceola. And then the coaches that they had there were young, they were good, and so they weren't moving, up or over. They were going to be in place for a while.
I know what you mean,
So it started to become, well, do I want to go back to Chicago and coach, which I would have loved, but I'm not a fan of cold weather, or do I want to go back to Arizona? So I'll be honest with you. I interviewed for 15 coaching jobs in the last year. I was the top 2 of 12 of them. Didn't get any of them because I really feel like in Phoenix, most ADs already know who they want to hire. It's kind of
ahead of time, for sure.
It's kind of, I'm gonna put my boy in position to do more. Whoever I look out for, it was like the hookup.
They probably hired him a year prior.
Right.
Yeah,
And so,
yeah.
a lot of, again, I don't want to sound arrogant. Like, I put my resume, who I've trained, what I've done as a coach, who I'm around basketball-wise, learning from and being mentored by. To some of these coaches, it don't weigh out why I don't have a job. And so I kind of gave up, honestly. I was like, okay, I will stay here another year. And so news came out that the coach who was here formerly was starting a prep school here. Him and Marvin was the coach of the Spartans, a real good friend of mine. And another coach who's a friend of mine that coached with us with the Spartans, Coach Jones, who I seen your interview on, he became the head coach here. And then he decided he wanted to go do the prep thing with them. And it was opening. And me and Coach Jones had already had a conversation. I'm like, man, if you leave, I'm applying. And the day he resigned, he sent me a text. I just resigned at Sabino, sent my resume in, and it worked out for us.
Technical difficulties.
Maybe I need to be dribbling or something.
Somebody in the background.
Yeah.
No, I mean, shout out Coach Jones, man. If you guys ever get a chance, check out his interview on the City Coaches podcast. But you're here now.
One of the best coaches in Tucson. Definitely one of the best people. Like, that's why I love Tucson more than Phoenix or anywhere else, because the people here really gravitate to you. They want to help you. They want to push you to wherever you're going. I think, even Marty, the guy who was the coach here, the minute I got the job, he reached out to me, made sure I got the huddle devices, practice jerseys, stuff like that. And it's like, just good people here.
Right, yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm here now. So whatever they did, congratulations. My job is better. So that's what we are.
So we working around this COVID situation. Yeah, I mean, honestly, Coach, you had a prestige school. I mean, winning in all sports, not just basketball, football, tennis. I seen swimming. Hell, I seen
baseball
all that
team won
shit.
state championship last year. Basketball team finished in the championship game. Volleyball team, I think we're in the state finals or the Final Four. Swim team won 3 state championships. Yeah. This is definitely the top job in Tucson by far.
Golf. I see all kind of stuff. So that's why I'm saying, Sabino did right. At the end of the day, you picked Sabino. I'll look at it like that. At the end of the day, because you wanted it. Because you could have just stayed in Arkansas and not worry about it. You picked Sabino. And now we're here in your situation. Beautiful facility. I just watched you finish off one of your practices, especially during the COVID situation. Everywhere where it's a mask or practice or something like that, keeping a distance. And I think you guys, what it was called, phase 2 or something like that?
Phase 2, yeah. So we can do everything but contact.
Right.
We can run every drill. We can't have contact. We have to wear a mask at all times. It's annoying, but, we're not wearing a mask now. I'm comfortable with Coach. Coach is comfortable with me. We're still 6 feet apart. Just want you guys to be able to hear us, but I understand the protocols and the importance of what we have to do as a program. I don't care if they ask us to wear masks to play in games. I just want to play.
Right.
I want my kids to be able to get out here and showcase their talent. My seniors get an opportunity to get some scholarships.
I'm not advertising the mask thing, but they look fine in practice. I'm sure they're just annoyed, but you gotta get the special. I think underarm mask. Well, they ain't cut me a check. I ain't saying nothing else.
Nike, we're a Nike school. We don't do Under Armour no more.
Yeah, shout out to Nike. Send out those masks, man, so these kids can be safe while they're playing the game they love, 100%. So, Coach, the biggest thing here, man, what are your expectations?
My
First of all, how many games you got? 15 games?
50,
Okay.
So our schedule is not technically out. I went on Max Prep and kind of got a sneak peek of, it says 15 games. I don't know if any of them are going to get canceled, rescheduled. We have from January 5th to February 19th to complete our season.
Okay.
Before playoffs.
So you might like 3 games a week, huh?
I hope so.
4 games a week.
It'll keep me busy, but the joy, I love this game. I've been around the world because of this game, and I'm not going to complain about having a condensed month. I'm glad my kids get opportunity to play.
No, I wouldn't mind playing 4 games in a week if I was an athlete or a coach still, too. Because you just want, sometimes it's obvious to just get right back at it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whether you win or lose, you're just like, yo.
And then when our season's over, we're right into club ball. And I haven't made my mind up whether I'm going back to Arkansas for the spring and summer, or if I'm gonna stay here and try to start something from scratch here.
Yeah.
It just kind of depends on where we are with the COVID situation.
Yeah, it's hard to leave your baby, especially if you started that facility situation.
Yeah.
You got, so what are some upsides from the athletes you got over here?
Well, I mean, I got 6'9" big man, 6'4" shooting guard that can shoot from all over the floor. Smart kids, really intelligent basketball players. It's probably the most talent I've had in any of the programs that I've had. I don't know if they're the dogs that I need them to be yet, but that's my job, is to get it out of them. You know, in Catalina, I changed some kids who didn't have hope into some dogs, and you had the opportunity to see them play, and gave them belief in themselves. And here, you know, they're a little spoiled. They've had great basketball program, but they come from good 2-home families, so it's a different atmosphere. So a lot of my coaches are like, "Coach, you're being soft enough." I just got the same way they're feeling
This
me
could be
out.
more adjusting on you.
Yeah.
I've went through that too, where it's like, it's more adjustment on your style, because it's easy to identify with kids that you've been through that's probably worse.
And as opposed to the kids that I have now, where, I got to make sure that they trust me enough to let me coach them.
Yeah.
I can't tell you, not a bad or good, but how many parents have already emailed our AD, "Hey, this is different, this is this," and it's not a bad thing, because it's not like they're telling on me. They're just going through what they're used to of communicating with administration as opposed to communicating with the coach. And our administration is great. Our leadership here is, since I've been on board, I'm not the poster child for head coaches getting along with administration, but here it's so easygoing, and as long as you do things the right way, they support you, they have your back, they've been behind me 100%. The best thing the AD told me coming here, he knew I was coming. He's like, "If I have to wait 2 or 3 weeks for you to get here, I'm willing to do that, because you're the guy that I want to run."
Well, if you have the support from the administration, you'll never have issue. You won't have this friction. Like you describe even off camera, like that. Whatever I want, they provide for me.
Yeah, and it's as long as it's reasonable and within guidelines, it's the ideal program for a high school. Like they love sports from the principal down. They're academic school, so I don't have to worry about kids skipping out. And one of my biggest prideful things is I've never lost a kid to eligibility. Like I've never lost an academic kid on any basketball team that I've coached.
And man, and you've been in some tough situations. You was able to pull them through.
Yeah.
And you know what the crazy thing, and I'm not saying Sabino's like that, but then you'll go to these schools where you assume that the kids are doing well, and they're not.
Yeah.
They're actually, I've been through that myself.
And this is
like, what?
For the kids, this is hard because everything's remote. Like there's no class.
Well, we were dealing with different beats right now and stuff like that.
So, I'm still on them about their grades, but we can't obviously do study hall and things like that.
But you're able to the thing about it, you're able to get back to it. That's the most important thing. The athletes are out there, they're shooting the basketball by themselves, doing what they're supposed to do, abiding by all the rules, and also just trying to be safe, because you want your athletes to be safe long term, as well as, of course, your coaching staff as well, and yourself.
Yeah.
The biggest thing we take away from this is that we're working around what's going on outside.
Yeah.
Because, at one point, we're facing it, and we don't know what's going on. We're trying. I remember March when everybody was Zooming, and you just were home and stuff like that. And just, we're dealing with depression and all this other stuff. Like, sports matter, and being able to get back to it matters. We just go tap it real quick. I bet you was a bit on I don't think I'm gonna edit none of this shit.
And that's the biggest thing. It's like, we're worried about kids catching the coronavirus, but the reality is we're damaging some kids' mental health, because sitting at home, looking at a computer, not being able to be around your friends, not being able to socialize. I lost a sister to suicide. Mm-hmm. So for me, mental health and things like that are a situation I take serious. So when I push sports and I say, hey, I'm an advocate of, if we got to play with masks on, let us do that. Right. But give these kids their play so that they can learn how to be productive and adequate citizens. Like holding them back, keeping them in the house, shutting them down, you're just isolating them. And the idle mind is going to just go crazy.
It is, and you could tell probably even you guys are actually in the classes and stuff like that, or just you lose social skills when you.
Absolutely.
Think about it, if you're an adult, or say like you're in the hospital for a long time, you go, you may not know, you might not say, excuse me. It's a lot of social skills, so kids need to develop. They're still developing those things. In 21, life is going to hit you, so at least to be let them be kids from right now. So it's good that they letting you guys get into that. Who are some of the top schools that you played against in Arizona?
That we played against in Catalina. Sabino. Sabino won our conference every year.
Full
I was there.
circle.
It's the only school I couldn't beat. I beat everybody else. I just, for whatever reason, they had our number every time we played them. Push Ridge was on the come up. They had got a new coach my last year. He seems to be doing well. They should be pretty strong this year. We'll see.
He had a good first year.
Let's see. Palo Verde, who's in our conference now, they were good then. I'm not sure where
Are they 3A now?
They're 3A now.
Oh, okay.
Empire, I can't wait. I'm gonna hold that in.
Yeah.
Empire's in our conference now too, but at Catalina we had some racial issues with Empire that we didn't get an opportunity to address on the floor. So, I'm gonna try to.
You take it off in a different way, right?
I'm gonna just try to win by 30 or 40. I try to be modest,
You're gonna
but
push
sometimes
the kids to do.
to
do well, right?
They're gonna understand that basketball takes everything, and basketball guys give you gifts back.
Give me five coaches that you looked up to, whether you know them or not.
5 coaches that I looked up to. The first one would be Reggie Brown. He is actually now he's an NBA agent. He's one of Nike's elite trainers in the world. He's not only a coach I look up to, but he's my mentor. He's almost like my father. He basically took me under his wing when I was like 13 and kept me there till now. I would say both my college coaches, Coach Cook and Coach Bargiano, just for teaching me the game and having, one school. He took the word of the manager that I can play and gave me a scholarship, and gave me the opportunity to play. And my first 8 games in college, I set the bench. I played like 3 minutes, but that's why I took on the mantra: your job is to be so good, I can't afford not to play you. In those 3 minutes and those 8 games, I was productive enough where he realized I have to play this kid. So I went from being a 18-year-old freshman sitting on the bench. We were ranked, we at Kendall, like 16 or 17 in the country at NAIA school. And I started every other game of the year. He gave me my opportunity because defensively I could guard 1 through 5. And then offensively it was a natural thing. And then Coach Cook, just because, I'm a knucklehead kid from Chicago that went to a Christian college. And one, the weird thing was having a black coach there, but also having a guy who tried to understand where I came from and put me under his wing. And, my first gift from him was a Bible. Son, read this. It'll help you through your journey. I still have that Bible to this day. Him and his wife gave it to me for Christmas. But it also changed my life of, do I want to be a kid that represents Chicago, kind of like the rappers do, the tough side, or do I want to represent what Chicago really is, which is the best basketball in the country, the stories of people not ever giving up and being successful in life, and you can go anywhere in the world and be successful. And so I kind of took that and ran with it. Coach Cal, I'm a big UK fan. Okay. I'm a Coach Cal fan. So I was a UMass fan. I was a Memphis fan, especially because Derrick Rose went there, Chicago connection. And I'm a huge Kentucky fan now because he's going to be there for life. Just his understanding of student athletes. Has nothing to do with X and O's. He can do that. He's great at that. But understanding that you put the kid in the best position to be successful, even if that means you sacrifice a couple of national championships. You want to make sure that this kid can leave here and take care of his family. And a good thing about all the schools that he's been at with scholarships, their scholarships last
Lifetime.
a
Lifetime.
That's the best thing I ever heard in my life, because if basketball, I break my knee in the NBA in 3 years, I can still go back and get my degree.
Yeah.
If all schools adopted that.
Go into business or go into coaching.
Yeah, and he takes care of his players. You know, you see their birthdays on Twitter. You see him bragging about, the kids, not just the kids that are the
Still talking
superstars,
about him, yeah.
but the ones that were just great kids for him. And so that is how I kind of take on basketball. I would say the old Temple coach, Don Chaney.
Coach Chaney,
Just one of those coaches that, he rips his tie off every game because he cares so much about his kids and his passion. As a kid growing up watching basketball, those are the type of things that I watch about how I wanted to be coached or how I wanted to coach. And then my high school coach, their father and son, the father passed away, Frank Lolino Sr. and Frank Lolino Jr. Senior passed away my sophomore year, and Junior just picked up the manual. Like, you're his guy, you're my guy now. And so they got me through a lot of dark days in high school. It took me a lot of 3 a.m. train rides and bus rides to get to practice at 5 a.m. But to have somebody whose mom would cook me mastacholi and neck bones to make sure I had dinner at night, stuff like that, and make sure I got a ride home from the west side of Chicago to the north side. It's just, you don't forget people like that. They're a big part. And then one more, right? Because I guess that would be 5, but
we'll go with the 5. Honestly, I ask those questions because we want to know who molds these coaches, right? And that's the biggest thing a lot of people don't know. And with this show, I know the coaches are always about the players. There's an opportunity for us to learn about these coaches. A lot of parents watch this, they learn, and they know to both sides because they always, they do. They scream or they write emails, but they don't know you. They never really get to know you. Yeah. So these are opportunities for people to really see what you go through, what you sacrifice.
My thing with coaches is, like, for me, like, I'm a student of the game. Like, I don't know it all.
Keep learning.
My peer. So the funny thing, the guy who backed me up in high school was my backup point guard in high school. I was his assistant coach when I became a coach. One of my best friends in the world. He's one of the best coaches I've ever been around. He's a Nike Elite coach. He's a USA basketball coach. He goes down and do Duke camp, everything. But I sit and I watch and I learn. I watch his interviews or his promo, and I always tell him, like, bro, I'm just glad. I'm just glad you changed my life. And I wasn't doing bad. Like, I wasn't doing anything wrong. I just was in a nightlife scene that wasn't what my calling was. My calling was to be able to influence young men and become productive in this world and teach them how to be successful and be an advocate of that and a mentor for that. And so, him just asking me one day, just going back to the school to watch again, come help. Changed my whole life.
Maybe he's seen something. Maybe something he needed. And look what you've done. You've been able to impact so many kids, not only in Chicago, not only in Arkansas, here in Arizona, and multiple other places. You've been a part of everyone's life. And I'm sure your story will be told one day, right? When it's all said and done.
I'm trying to write it now.
Hey, I got a publishing company. What's innovation publishing?
We definitely talk about that.
No, but seriously, Coach, man, I definitely want you to hear the praise, because honestly, I know your story's not done, but so far it's been great. We've had many one-on-ones. Well, not say many, but we've had a few one-on-ones where we just talked about things.
And life, and
I'm always excited to hear from you, man. So, leaving on today, what is something you want to leave my fans? Not only what you coming up with, or what your plans are and stuff like that.
Just again, I'm here to advocate basketball for Arizona. Like, I'm gonna represent Chicago to the day I die.
Shout out to that.
I'm gonna make sure I reach back into my community and pull kids through colleges here. I reach out to colleges all the time. Hey, I got a kid from Chicago. I got a kid from Arkansas. I got a kid from Arizona. My job is not to make money off of these kids by, whatever. Like, training is one thing, but to try to sell a kid to a program for self-gain is not what it is. But to give a kid an opportunity to go live out his dream because somebody did it for me. I just said it, my high school basketball manager, my first college team I played on, I was going to school just to go to school, not because I didn't get offers, but just because I didn't, in my mind, I was like, oh, you're just going to be a dumb basketball player.
Right, yeah.
Go get your degree, don't worry about basketball. And our manager came up to me and was like, no, you need to hoop. And went and talked to the coach without talking to me. The man offered me a scholarship without ever seeing me play, just because the manager said something. So for me to give back to my guy Chewy has always been an advocate for these kids to get to college. I have a kid that I worked out with. I won't say I'm his trainer, but I had the joy of training him all summer. Desi Sills is at the University of Arkansas. His first game this season, he had 19 points. It ain't because of us. It's because a kid who told me, changed my life. He said, Coach, I'm not going to cheat myself. And every drill that we did, it wasn't, I messed up, I'll make it up next time. I messed up, I'm going back to do it right now. Started shooting guard there. I had another kid that's at Green Bay, Wisconsin, B. Will, who he's recovering from a hernia surgery, but next year I think he's a year, maybe 2 years away from, big time money. And just to earn the trust of these type of players, to train them, to give them advice, to build basketball relationships through them and with them, that's my job here now. So my seniors, I'm going to work diligently to find schools for them, because I truly believe there's a school for everybody. It might not be your dream school, it might not be next door where your mom can come see you every day, but if this is what you love and you want to do, there's opportunity somewhere in this country for you to go play and be successful in it. And so my job is to be the one to find that for them children if they want the opportunity, but continue to push them along their journey. And so that's
I mean, yes, sir. When we wrap, but obviously your stories continue. We're gonna let it continue that way. You catch out the SaberCats coming up. Look up on Max Prep.
January 5th, our first game.
5th, you play on the first opening day?
Yep. We play at Safford, which is like 3 hours away.
Oh yeah, I did that drive. And that 60 miles per hour bus too.
I ain't driving no bus.
Oh, you gonna ride?
No, we don't even have transportation this year.
Oh.
Give
us some of that before we go. Oh, the parents have to take
Parents have to take them. They can't carpool. They have to ride with their own parent. So if a kid got a parent that, if I was at Catalina,
it'll be rough.
Man, listen, I probably, never mind.
I know what you mean. But yeah, I see what you're saying. So obviously I just learned something. So man, you still got the kid opportunity to play basketball. Just have to ride separately to the games and leave separately to the games. But it can happen, especially at this type of school. I definitely know it can happen. You can look up the area and figure out yourself. Definitely, Coach, what are some of your handles people can contact you online?
Shots on the Hoops on everything. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Shots on the Hoops is everything basketball pertaining to my life. You might see a couple of pictures of my children. Outside of that, I really live baller's life. I'm not one of those people that say it because it's a cool slogan.
Right.
I'm at this from 4 a.m. to, 9:30 now?
Yeah, we had it.
Yeah, so, this is what I do. Like I said, always Chicago first. Arizona's been my second home, and basketball is everything. So
I'm totally excited for you, Coach. Like I say, hit up his handle. I'll try to put it down on the page. If you're not yet subscribed to the City of Coaches podcast, I'm back at it. I'm going to continue at it. Great coaches like this.
I think I pushed him out of retirement because I called him like, man, I know I owe you one.
You did. I ain't going to hold you.
Listen, I called him as soon as I got the job. I was like, I know I owe you one. Come on, man. I just took the job at Sabino, and it's good to see him because this is a good thing. Like, the coaches in Arizona are really good. I don't know if they get their just due. Some of them, it's just hard to get recognition, and I don't want recognition for wins and losses. Recognize me for my ability to help children become better people. Like, I could lose every game this year. If my kids graduate and have a successful life, I put a quote up the other day. If you ask me how good my team is, I'm probably going to tell you, ask me in 20 years.
Yes.
So that then I can tell you if I was a good coach or a bad coach based on the players that I influenced. Because that's what's important. Like, we win state, cool, with great memory, but I guarantee you my kids at Catalina who never won state are going to remember
are they going to call you 20
party
years
bus,
from now?
our party bus senior night, our Outback nights where Outback fed us dinner, our Angry Crab night. They're going to remember our trip to Chicago where they rode on a plane. You know, we got to Chicago and people treated us like rock stars. You know, seeing snow for the first time for most of them.
Bless it.
And being in negative 30 degree weather. You know, those are the things that they talk about. Still, you know, I had a kid that went and played football for ASU, and you know, every day, coach, man, I can't wait to go back to Chicago. Dude, you play Division I football.
Right.
Go, you travel the world, but it's, you know, to me, it's a feel good thing.
Excited, yeah.
You know, and so that's what it's about. Like, don't cut the game short. You know, somebody asked me once, "What have you done for the game lately?" I can't do enough for it.
You gotta keep doing it.
Yeah.
Whatever it's love, and like I said, I know for a fact your players gonna be calling you 40 years from now. Say, Coach, I miss you. How you doing?
Come get me out this camp. I want them to treat me how they treat John Wood.
Yeah, still bother them.
Yeah.
But I forgot to say this. My bad. All right, this episode is brought to you by Pickle Juice. Everyone knows that athletes out in the world, they get these cramps, such as like that. They drink pickle juice. They usually get them right back on the field or the court or wherever they may be playing the sport at. So definitely look up picklejuice.com or go on Instagram with Pickle Juice or The Pickle Juice. And go ahead, like, subscribe, and then get you some.
Can I get you a story? I got a crazy story about pickle juice.
Go ahead.
My first game in college, I cramped up. I'll never forget this. Our trainer was like, give him some pickle juice. I never heard of it before. Ever since then, I've been an advocate of it. My players will tell you, I preach pickle juice every time. It was one of those things. And then I used to have to drink like this much before every game so I wouldn't catch cramps. And it wasn't I wasn't in shape. I just didn't drink enough water back then. So, but
You're doing it, man.
it definitely works.
It definitely does. As Coach already is advocate for those as well, man. But I definitely appreciate you coming on.